This is a Behemoth, the new crisis path added in the Biogenesis DLC, and it's crazy. From unique buffs and negatives to building the egg and incubating it. It also comes with growth stages, chrysalis, a rage mechanic, and to finish it off, we basically become the Behemoth and then try to complete quests. And the Behemoth gets a bunch of abilities, it's crazy. And in this dev diary, we also get a look at the new Civics, portraits, and a few more extra changes coming in 4.0 and Biogenesis. Let's get into it. The next step in evolution. Cosmogon is here with the final dev diary before May 5th and the release of Biogenesis and 4.0. Today we're taking a look at the various civics and the latest innovation in galaxy-threatening technology, Behemoths. Civics. There's a lot to cover, so they're going to be brief. Let's screenshots speak. We have regular empire and corporate civics. We have crowdsourcing. This society has realized that individual inspiration is the root of true innovation. Open source patents, open-mindedness, spontaneous collaborations, and innovation bounties pave the way to progress. Factions produce research instead of unity. Yes, I love technology. Factions will also form shortly after you start the game. This is like parliamentary systems, but you get research instead of unity, which is very interesting and unique. The faction resource output is plus 4%, the governing ethics attraction -1 per skill level on the councillor, so you can buff this up with a councillor. That sounds incredible. We can see some numbers here. That's quite a lot of science. Now remember, the pops on the left is scaled up by 100. So yes, as you can see by the caption, faction output numbers are non-final because that's a lot of technology for pretty much the start of the game there. That will be very interesting. We then have genetic identity. The society requires every citizen to be registered from birth in a genetic index used in every level of bureaucracy. Society research per 100 bureaucrats plus 1.5. That is plus 1 in the old system. That's not a low amount. Crime minus 15% and encryption plus 1. Council position per level, research speed to biology, and less priest upkeep. I'm guessing that is bureaucrats as well. They might be playing spiritualists. We then have civil education. In this empire, education has supplanted law enforcement. Through comprehensive preparation and strict course correction, they ensure that no individual is beyond the reach of learning. After all, there are no bad citizens, only bad education. All enforcers are replaced with educators. Replaces precinct house with state academy. Oh, that's a very interesting civic. Per level, upkeep from jobs minus 0.5. That's very strong. Upkeep reduction stacking can yield big results, especially with how trade's going to be deficits. We then can see the state academy. Citizens, 100 citizens are producing 0.75 tech. That would be 1 citizen, or unemployed basically. Consumer goods upkeeps of citizen is plus 1 though, and it gives you 200 educator jobs. Educators use consumer goods to produce unity, decrease crime, increase governing ethic attraction, and spawn defensive armies. That sounds like an interesting civic, and it stacks with utopian abundance, so you could go a full civilian run. Oh no, I'm gonna have to do a civilian run, aren't I? And genetic ID can be combined with cyber creed and dimensional worship for a no scientist run. Oh no, because you can get science in other ways. Interesting. You could just do the faction, which looks like it's producing a lot. There's some hive civics. Aerospace adaptation. This collective biological ships are especially suited to inter-atmosphere flights, allowing them to carry out close air support missions or even assist with planetary logistics. Biological ships in orbit of friendly colonies have minus 50% ship upkeep. Friendly colonies with biological ships in orbit get increased build speed, amenities, clear blocker speed, and potentially job output, depending on fleet size. Biological ships in orbit of hostile colonies have minus 85% upkeep. You get 100% more orbital bombardment damage and 25% Legion node experience gain. This civic could be very, very good to take later on in the game, where you have a bunch of ships sitting around waiting to go to war. You can park them above your colonies, which will give you less upkeep, and it will probably give you job output and amenities. It's pretty good, actually. You can see some of the modifiers here. I can see kind of the strength. 211 strengths giving you build speed, 25%, amenities, 10%, clear blocker speed, 50%. So that would be start of the game. That's quite good. Can't see the strength in the second one. They're getting 100% build speed, 40% amenities, clear blocker speed, 200%, resources from job, 5%. If you think it has to be 4 times, so like 1k strength to do that, maybe it's actually quite good. I doubt it. I think you're going to need more. Wonder how far that could go up, or if that's the max. Familiar face. Cooperation is preferred to direct confrontation. This hive mind has evolved diplomatic drones able to take on shape and mannerisms of their interlocutors. Envoys and officials take on the physical form of the empires they are assigned to. Trust required to perform diplomatic actions minus 50%. The trust requirement for things stops you rushing down vassals. You could potentially make a nice hive with the other civic that makes it so non-hives like you, and this to just do a peaceful vassal run. That's very interesting. Should probably write these ideas down for videos. What am I doing? Pull back the curtain. Civilian only. No scientists. You also get 2 extra of envoys, 15% infiltration speed, -2 operation difficulty, and more regulatory node experience gain. Those are very nice buffs if you want to do the thing I was suggesting. You then have shared genetics. This hides mutated genome, which uses the basis to grow its biological ships, and their fleets have intrinsically linked with their drones, drawing strength from their species uniqueness. For each positive main species trait, plus 2.5% hull, 0.5 upkeep. For each negative main species trait, 1.5% shipped fire rate, and 0.5 upkeep. This combined with that origin where you can steal traits. Write it down. Modifiers. Ship build speed 10% too, and growth node experience gain. You have to have biological ship set. That's pretty cool. There's a machine civic here. Machine intelligence specializes into defense military sieges, commanding hard defense with hidden protocol. Starbase upkeep -10%, home territory fire rate 10%, disengagement opportunities +1, legion node experience gain 25%, and starbase and defense station tracking 10. Well, that combined with the other defensive civic could go crazy. Wow. Redacted civic. I can't quite make what that says, but it's what's inside that counts. This hive specializes in infiltration, commandeering the bodies of unfortunate organic. Inevitably, as the amount of puppets grow, the host civilization is absorbed into the collective. Start the game with 1,000 assimilated pops and the ability to assimilate organics into the hive mind. You have access to prepare invasion espionage mission and gains extra pops from smuggle population espionage mission. There is a new mission smuggle pop where you can steal pops, I think. That's what it sounds like anyway. But you also get prepare invasion. You can't have evolutionary predator origin, necrophage, or devouring swarm. Redactic are just a fairy tale told to from.get species for named plural to keep them afraid of the dark and keep them in line. Oh, we actually get to see stuff. New openings. It was a 42 infiltration. Fresh recruits. The Killick cooperative have been compromised. You're primed for invasion, and all we need to do is decide how many imposters we send over to further infiltrate their empire. Soon, all will be Laven. We have sent over all we can, ensure that outposts are prepare invasion for the planet. You can send 300 pops. The next war we declare against the Killick, or is declared against us within 10 years, will make use of prepared infiltrators. Infiltration goes down by 40. Alright, this one warrants a few more explanations. In regards to the new operations made by Iggy. Smuggle Population is a new operation available to everyone that lets you steal a few hundred pops from a target empire. Whether you're using it to liberate slaves or require fuel for the synaptic lave, it's up to you. Espionage might be very strong. Prepare Invasion is exclusive to this civic, and for a cost of pops, will let you strike from the shadows at the beginning of a war, flipping star bases in systems close to you, and even spawning a handful of armies on some of the planets in an attempt to conquer them by surprise. Total number of systems affected by this effect depends on how many pops you choose to sacrifice when preparing this operation, with a maximum of 2,000 pops of the victim species for 50% of its controlled systems. Wow. You could just really rush someone down. This would be an idea. Because we can get cloaking on armies too, so we could, like, in theory, just land and take everywhere. Hopefully you get told what systems will flip. If not, you might have to move around some fleets. But you could have cloaking ready to go. Now, if you're as hyped as me for all these new Civics, Origins, and the upcoming Behemoth Fury, but you still haven't bought the DLC or pre-ordered it, make sure to use my code or link that's in the description and pinned comment. This uses the Paradox store to then give a kickback to my channel and me. It greatly helps out the channel and is much appreciated if you do use it. The way the Paradox store works is you can purchase any Paradox games and you'll get a Steam key to redeem on Steam. My code and link will work indefinitely. There is no time rush. If you want to see what the DLC is like before ordering it, you can and still use my link. It also works for any Paradox games, so if you're thinking of buying other Paradox games, you can still use my link. Greatly appreciate it. Now let's get on to the Behemoth Fury. Our new Crisis Path, only available to Bioship Empires, will be a must-play for enjoyers of kaiju movies, titanic dragons, and big monsters in general. In it, you seek to transcend the weak form that binds you to planets and prevents you from just having the time of your life in space under the foolish excuses that you need to breathe, be warm, or that solar radiation can mess up your system. Your path to a new life begins with figuring out how to craft new spaceborne life. Behemoth Fury. The apex predators of the stars are not bound by petty limitation. In the same spirit, we will cast off the biological weaknesses that hold us back and become a force of nature. This will allow the Hesukaran menace to progress towards becoming the Crisis. To support the ever-growing number of Crisis Paths, the Crisis tab has been made more modular than ever. and can accommodate new backgrounds and color schemes. This is great for you modders out there, but I digress. Behemoth Fury will see you accumulate feral insight to progress through the levels, with the biggest rewards coming from birthing and interacting with behemoths. We can see Concern, Crisis level 1, going up to Crisis level 5. Interesting, we have Crisis objectives here. Build biological ships, breed space fauna, destroy biological ships, kill space fauna, capture space fauna, grow behemoth eggs, birth behemoths, and behemoth raging. There's nothing for like just murdering in general. You need to murder biological things. Interesting, you can just build your biological ships to gain menace, which is quite cool, or whatever it's called, feral insight. Most of the perks revolve around them directly, but quite a few will significantly buff your bioships, your food production, and your society research as your entire empire is skewed towards developing and supporting behemoth. Here are a few examples. Society research per 100 farmers 1.5. That's pretty insane. Especially if you're doing a food biological build, you're going to have so much society research. Ship alloy cost minus 95%, ship build speed plus 15%. That eliminates basically the alloy cost for the biological ships, so you could just go full food, which means then more society research. In order to birth behemoths, you must prepare a suitable vessel for something this size. A mega structure ought to do it. The behemoth eggs are built and hatched exclusively with food, so those farmers better get to work, because you'll need a lot of it. Cyclopean Hatcheries effects unlocks the behemoth egg megastructure. This megastructure is going to cost 100,000 to upgrade and 150 influence. Wow. Newborn behemoths are not that impressive yet, sporting a mere 28.5 thousand fleet power, and a lot of it comes from how tanky they are. They're still a far cry from the objective of breeding the ultimate predator, but they are a necessary step. Here you can see that new dragon, no shields. You can see the ship screen is very different. There's a growth stage and a rage status. Growth increases as the behemoth consumes bioships, space fauna, or pops during bombardment. So you're going to want to find bioships basically, or just eat lots of pops. Once that reaches 150, you can click grow up, and the rage status is calm instead of agitated before. Interesting. Note the fancy new ship UI that made way for a brand new growth bar and the very non-threatening rage status. As your baby behemoth goes around the galaxy, living its best life by eating ships and pop by bombarding planets, it's not big enough to eat them whole yet, it will fill up its growth meter. I like how they said yet. We're going to be able to eat the whole planet. Nice. Once the meter is full, it turns into a button. And if you're far enough along the crisis path, you'll be able to click it to send the behemoth back into an egg or a chrysalis, if you want to be technical about it. That sounds incredible, so you upgrade it by turning back into an egg. Once again, you can spend a lot more food in order to get an even bigger beast emerge, ready to feast upon an unsuspecting galaxy. It's going to cost 125,000 food and 10,080 days to upgrade from the class 1 behemoth that we saw. Interesting. However, this is not without danger. Behemoths are dangerous beasts, and until you can find a way to fully control them, they will escape your grasp from time to time, come into their rage and hunger. With the right stimulation, you can, however, induce this rage artificially, unleashing the behemoth when the time is right. When raging, a behemoth will attack anything else in the system, then attempt to seek out the closest source of food, a colony or a behemoth egg, to go and devour it. As a behemoth crisis empire, you can defeat them in combat to beat them into submission and take control of them, while other empires that can prevail over a raging beast will kill it. There is more finesse to the system, such as the fact that fully fed behemoths no longer randomly rage, or that if two behemoths meet, you'll try to fight each other, possibly to the death. The rage status indicator in the fleet view should let you know when your beast is at risk of succumbing to its anger. It's absolutely possible to get killed by your own feral behemoths, and I've lost count of the times where I got game overed when testing the rage while owning a single colony. A lot to digest there. So essentially, you can't just sit this behemoth over your capital and wait. You need to send it off to go kill, to eat, otherwise it will get hungry, rage, eat your colonies. So you just got to send them off, but you can use the rage to your benefit to just say, go on, eat that thing. Because it does sound like you might not even need to declare war if it's raged and you line it up correctly for it to go eat a colony. Very interesting. In rage, it costs 15,000 food, 150 gases, and has a cooldown of 540 days. Let loose the behemoth. The raging behemoth will head towards the closest colony or behemoth egg and attempt to destroy it. Rage normally lasts 180 days, but several factors can affect that duration. While in combat or bombarding, a behemoth will not calm down. If we defeat a raging behemoth in combat, it will return under our control. Interesting. So while it's fighting, it won't unrage, so you can just, it will just go forever until it eats the thing it wants to eat. Then there's another cost that's 5,000, 150 exotic gas, and 540 days. Don't know what that means, why there's two costs. The final level of the crisis is the most transformative in terms of gameplay. As usual, crossing that final line is up to you, and it will have an important consequence. First off, the Galactic community will collectively declare war upon you, and even fallen empires have a chance to decide to step in. Mind Meld effects assume full control of a mighty Class 4 Behemoth, a creature unmatched in its capacity to dominate the galaxy. Our mind to the Behemoth's mind to ours, its rage becomes our own. We are willingly consumed, and as the beast gores itself into a collective consciousness, we feel its fury. It's becoming us, and we become beast. And we can become one by you subscribing to the channel, as I know you're not, Greg. I know you're not. Every time I call you out, you're not. You're holding everyone up. And while you're holding everyone up, they might as well also subscribe. Let's get back on with it. Having completed the Mind Meld special project, you'll assume full control of one of your behemoths, which will in turn keep any other in line. Ah, okay. So you'll no longer have rage, which is implying you can build more than one behemoth, preventing them from raging unless you use the rage action. So you can still use it, okay. As you merge the minds of your population with the beasts, you will unlock increasingly powerful bonuses before your final ascension. King of the monsters. With the mind meld complete, only a few more steps lie between us and our ambitions. We must grow accustomed to our new shared body and keep transferring the minds of our people, but more importantly, we need to crush any would-be contender, whomever they may be. Objectives. Find and kill any other Class 4 behemoth in the galaxy. Complete the growing pains situation. Slay the blank. What's that? A final boss. Don't worry about it. That's very interesting. We'll have like an end game goal, similar to how we were just upgrading the megastructure for Become the Crisis. Instead, we have 3 quests. The capital will swap its city districts for Mindlink Metropolis, ones that produce unity and research for each pop that has already been transferred, and whose mind became one with the behemoth. The starting output is tiny, but it will rapidly increase as long as you can find volunteers. Very similar to the lathe, but it's on your capital. Very interesting. Mindlink Metropolis produces a very small amount of unity science, gives housing, gives clerk jobs, and transfer volunteer jobs. Transfer volunteers will produce unity, increase planetary stability, and make our ship stronger. 10% of pops working this job will get transferred every 6 months, killing them, but multiplying the district's resource output. Pops transferred is 4 a minute, which is very low. That's like 0.04 of a pop in 3.14. And we can see it produces a bit of stability, all that stuff. That's very interesting. Essentially, you're just converting into a dragon. Kaiju, take my energy. On the other hand, having a mind link with a beast like the Behemoth can prove a little distracting and raises questions like, what's the point of anything in life when all I want is to merge into the beast? Such thoughts are represented by the following modifier, and it will grow worse as you progress through the final situation of the crisis. Don't know why I said it like that. We're going to keep going. Behemoth transference. Minus 15% pop growth speed, minus 15% resource from jobs, 15% food upkeep, 25% empire size effect, and 10% happiness. The link that now exists between the beast and our population casts a new light over the planet-bound existence, one of futility, compared to becoming one with the beast. Everyone now craves unity in the beast and is feeling ravenous. Who knew that letting a star beast into your mind would have consequences? I like that you have a bit of a negative to actually doing it, because you're going to have a lot of buffs from the other stuff. Speaking of, the growing pains situation tracks how well you adapt to your new body and will let you unlock increasingly powerful mutations your Class 4 Behemoth to grow it into the ultimate starborn predator. Growing pains. It will take some time for us to adjust to a form so massive in scale. As we grow into this body, we must remain aware of our surroundings. There now stands nothing between us and the void. Our current growth factor is 0.02%, progressing by 1, and there's 8 stages, so 8 mutations. There's also different approaches: flight, digestion, and fight. No idea what they do. Probably different buffs and stuff. I don't know, or negatives. The situation progresses faster depending on your approach and your growth factor, which tracks how many pops have been transferred, as well as how many you've eaten. At this point, your behemoth has reached its adult size and can simply go around the galaxy, gobbling up habitable planets to absorb their biomass and population. Growth factor is a measure of the quantity of nutrients absorbed by your behemoth and affects how fast the situation will progress. Ah, okay. Every month, it decreases by 0.75. Increase your growth factor by killing other behemoths, leviathans, or biological ships, eating habitable planets, or eating pops. The minimum value is equal to 0.5 per 100 transferred pops. So that's 1 pop gives you 0.5. It decreases by 0.75, so you just want to go eat some capital planets, basically. At this stage of its growth, the Behemoth makes full use of the new fleet UI created for heroship, and you can unlock new activated abilities as you progress with the growing pain situation. Every stage, you'll be given a choice of bonuses to gain, the first of which regards the type of eggs that you want your behemoth to lay. Eggs will be able to hatch into other baby behemoths or swarms of bioships to support your creature as it devours the galaxy. So this would be where you're selecting mutations. Something stirs. The hunger within us is not mindless, but adaptive. New growths siver into existence, pulsing with potential. Our eggs are the literal lifeblood of our lineage. They must be protected and cared for at all costs. Let's guide our evolution to benefit our future hatchlings. You can accelerate their growth, empower our hatchlings, strengthen the shells. By the end of the situation, you should have unlocked 5 new activated abilities located under the usual orders bars. These abilities can target planets, enemy fleets, ally fleets, or the behemoth itself. Oh yeah, one of them lets you cloak your behemoth if you have first contact. What? Can't wait to see what modders will do with this. Surely nothing crazy. Oh my gosh, we can actually have abilities on ships. Oh no, this is going to turn into like StarCraft MOBA. Modders, please have mercy on us. In addition to all that, the behemoth will not be locked in combat like a Colossus. Oh, okay. So it can still be ordered around while it's fighting. And even got a fancy combat UI improvement to let you trigger its abilities. What? Randy the Ravenous orders are moving, but you can lay rapid behemoth eggs while in combat, which will spawn small fleets in 6 months, and you can click the other buttons. Oh my gosh. 10,000 also to do that. Stellaris MOBA when? Yeah, that's what. Stellaris Dota. Oh no. I may or may not have too many hours in a MOBA. Guys, I have too many hours in a MOBA to play another one. And yes, it's deleted. I'm not playing it anymore. Here's a sample of the abilities on this specific behemoth. But bear in mind that all abilities have swaps, except for the thermoclastic raw that needs none. This is all pretty novel stuff, but the fleet power doesn't really reflect abilities like this. And honestly, I'm certain you'll manage to break the new system in exciting ways, and I cannot wait for the memes. So there's cloaking, standard, we know what cloaking is. Spawn fleet, we just saw that. Actually, no, that's different. That's different. Spawns a medium fleet that will die after 6 months. This fleet does not use naval capacity. You can just spawn a fleet. What? You spawn minions to fight with you. Energy burst. Deal 60% damage to every ship in the largest hostile military fleet in the system. What? That's insane. 60% damage to the largest fleet. So it's one fleet. If you're fighting one fleet, click it. If this is multiplayer, you're going to want to see what they have. Split your fleets into loads of different ones so it doesn't do anything. Ah, that's so stupid. Thermoclastic Raw deals devastating damage to all fleets and colonies in the system. Plus 25,000 food. What does it mean, devastating damage? It just kills it. Does it just kill it? It just kills it. It has a massive cooldown. Also, they did say, except for the Raw, all of them have alternatives too. Holy moly. I definitely don't have the room for all the mutations here, so here are a few numbers about the crisis. 24, 278, quite a few combinations of mutations, 13 different active abilities, 21 different passive bonuses, 1 allegedly invincible final boss. Oh, okay. There's a lot of combinations then. I'm gonna have to do a video breaking down all of that, I think. Write that down, write that down. There's a lot more that I don't have time to tell you about that. You'll need to discover by yourself. So I'll leave you with amazing placeholder UI art, courtesy of our UX designer, and featuring a hungry and angry behemoth R. Is that Gat? What does that say? Oh, it says cat? I don't know. And then rage. Oh, and we also forgot about, there are things that simply didn't fit in any dev diary and others that have recently changed about 4.0. So here is a non-exhaustive list. Hive pops can now live and work in non-hive empires without being purged. That is huge. I know in the multiplayer scene, going hive was quite meta because if you died, they wouldn't get any pops unless you went bioascension. So you could just be like, well, kill me, you'll get nothing. Except for a bit of purging. I love that. I love that. We're adding a whole bunch of planet-related events. We love more events. A whole swath of new mammalian portraits are available for everyone for free. We'll throw them up on screen as I'm rambling and as I was saying that sentence. There's some nice looking ones. Just variety. Hive worlds and machine worlds now work on a similar level to Ecomonopoli. I don't know what that means. I can't remember what an Ecomonopolist does. That's probably a buff for Hive worlds and machine worlds though. You can get all the new Fallen Empire buildings from Machine Age when using reverse engineer arcane technology. Nice. That's very good. That's very nice. You can now forgive the radical cult. No longer must you chase them down in every single system if you don't want to. Oh my gosh. That's the starting thing that spawns ships everywhere. And I always tell you not to research it and board the ship, but now you can forgive them. Did we ever show you what the finished timeline looks like? Wilderness. It just looks great. I need to remember this thing exists when I play, but it's so nice for the history of your empire if you want to look back. Great feature. We then have partial feature release notes. I think I'll do a video going through all of the release notes and changes. Maybe on Monday, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But the main thing is genetic ascension overhaul, biological ships, clear crisis path, new origins, Hive Fallen Empire, 7 new civics, not 6, they added a new one, Deep Space Citadel megastructure, 12 new species portraits, phenotype species trait, wilderness city set, and diplomatic rooms, new music, 65 new events, mad. Then 4.0 features, planets are changed, pop workforce, pop growth, empire focuses, and timeline. Trade has been revamped into standard resource. Databank game info library has been added. There are about 9,000 lines in an export log for us to go through to get the rest. So we can get them sorted by the dev diary. That's fine. We'll read through them at some point. Next week, join us next week for the full patch notes of the 4.0 release, and of course to play Biogenesis, who's hype with meat ships. I can't wait for this DLC. It looks incredible. Remember to use my link in the description if you're going to buy it. Season 9, any Paradox game. It doesn't run out. There's no time limit, so wait until you see it. Go watch this video that YouTube's recommending you, I guess, and goodbye.